Today, we're diving into a really fundamental shift in how artificial intelligence actually learns. See, we're moving past this old idea of just feeding AI more and more data, and we're stepping into a new era of smart data. This is the evolution of large model data engineering, and trust me, it's a total game changer.
This quote, it absolutely nails it. We're talking about a massive paradigm shift from brute force scaling to structured understanding. But what does that actually mean in plain English? Well, over the next few minutes, we're going to unpack that exact idea. We'll start with the old way of doing things, then we'll explore the huge turning point that changed everything, and finally, we'll look at what this all means for the future of AI.
Okay, so first things first, let's make sure we're on the same page. When we say large model data engineering, think of it like being a gourmet chef for an AI. It's not just about grabbing a bunch of raw ingredients, right? It's the entire process of collecting, cleaning, and structuring these huge, raw data sets into something an AI can actually learn and grow from.
So, let's rewind a bit. Our story starts in what we can pretty much call the era of brute force. This was a time when the thinking was super simple, and honestly, looking back, a little naive. More is always more.
The philosophy was basically this. If we just pour the entire internet into a giant funnel, the AI will figure it out eventually. The focus was all on sheer volume, sheer size, with almost no attention paid to the quality or the structure of the data. It was just a numbers game, plain and simple.
In this approach, it had a very clear goal: just get as much data as humanly possible. But the data itself was usually this chaotic mess of raw, unfiltered information. The hope was that just scale would somehow magically create intelligence. The problem, as you can imagine, was that the models were learning from a whole lot of junk, making the entire process incredibly inefficient and noisy.
But, okay, that brute force approach could only go so far. Researchers and engineers started to realize that just adding more data wasn't making the AI any smarter, it was just making it bigger. And that realization, that was the turning point. It sparked this huge move towards something new: structured understanding. The focus just completely flipped. It went from quantity to quality and relevance. Instead of this, data tornado, we started building a data network. The goal was no longer just bigger is better, it became smarter is better. We were finally moving from unstructured chaos to organized knowledge.
Here's a great way to think about it. The old method was like trying to find a specific fact in a library where someone has just thrown every book in the world into a giant disorganized pile. The new method? It's like having a master librarian who has organized everything, cataloged it, and understands how all the ideas connect. It lets you find not just what you're looking for, but how it relates to everything else.
Now, this evolution didn't happen overnight. It wasn't like flipping a switch. You can actually break it down into 4 distinct paradigms that give us a really clear blueprint for how we got to where we are today.
So first, we had just simple data collection. Then came paradigm 2. That's the brute force era we were just talking about, defined by its massive scale. Paradigm 3 was that critical turning point where we finally started to prioritize quality over quantity. And now we're in paradigm 4, which is all about creating structured knowledge, this rich, interconnected web of information that an AI can truly learn from.
And as our whole approach evolved, the data itself got way more sophisticated. We went from raw, unorganized data to labeled data, which adds some context. Then we got to relational data, which shows how different bits of info connect. And now we're working with knowledge graphs. These are intricate maps of information, kind of like a brain for the AI, connecting concepts like Paris is the capital of the country France.
So, where is all this heading? Why does this shift matter so much? Well, it's all about building a future that is AGI-facing, a future where we can create much more advanced, much more human-like artificial intelligence.
This isn't just about small, incremental improvements. This whole evolution is about laying the foundation for the next generation of AI. We're talking about systems that can understand and reason more like we do, what people often call artificial general intelligence, or AGI.
And the difference is just, it's stark. Models trained on that messy, brute force data, they can only get so far. They hit a ceiling. But when you introduce high-quality structured data, you unlock a completely new level of potential. It's not just about having more information. It's about having better, more connected information, which leads to a much deeper understanding for the AI.
So here's the bottom line, the big takeaway. The shift from quantity to quality isn't just some minor technical adjustment. It's one of the most critical factors, maybe the most critical, in our quest to build truly intelligent AI. It really is the key that could unlock that next chapter. So I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. For years, we've focused on building bigger and more powerful engines for AI. But what happens when we finally master the art of refining the fuel itself? The possibilities, well, they're pretty staggering to think about. Thanks for tuning in.